Thanks again to Carbon Health for being our presenting sponsor. If you are a regular here, you know I've talked about Carbon Health and how long I've talked about Carbon Health and why I love Carbon Health. They help with things like COVID, cold, flu testing, antibiotic prescriptions for things like infections, UTIs, STDs. They have primary care services in California and Massachusetts. But if you're new here, thank you, by the way, for stopping by. You should also know that they can help with injuries as well. Most of their locations have imaging or x-ray machines so they can diagnose strains, sprains, and fractures if you unfortunately become injured. And I know, unfortunately, not everyone will be near one of the 120 plus locations, but they do have virtual urgent care services for states like California, New York, Florida, and several others. So thank you to Carbon Health. Really, really happy to be working with them. Check out the link in the description. What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us here today on The Big Thing. Deadpool 3. It's already started filming. Even in the midst of the writer's strike, it's filming. And there's a shot of Hugh Jackman with the grizzly beard and all that. Speaking of Marvel and the MCU, our buddy Josh Horowitz had Elizabeth Olsen on Happy, Sad, Confused, which you should be listening to. Great show. Anyway, she talked about Doctor Strange, and not only did she say that she was kind of frustrated with the rewrites and everything that was happening, so she started reading some of them and all that, which kind of confirmed a lot of just the writing in general of that script. But what she did confirm was that there was rumors that Daniel Craig was supposed to have a role inside of the film, a cameo, and she confirmed it. So we'll talk about that, and then, last but certainly not least, full interview with Jodie Sweetin. Now, you know Jodie, obviously, from her days as Stephanie Tanner on Full House, but she has just such an incredible story of comeback, of what she was able to do in her life, from hard times to getting back and being a mom and doing stand-up comedy, producing, eventually trying to put her hand in directing, and much more. She's on the show with myself and my friend comedian Justine Marino, and we talked to her about everything. She's really, really awesome. I love having her on the show. And she dives into a lot of different things, including Bob Saget. We talk about Bob Saget, who just had his birthday last week, and we talk about the late, great Bob Saget and more. So we hope you enjoy the interview today with Jodie Sweetin. Now, before we do, because we got a big show, the first thing I want to do is let you know that this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Love BetterHelp. Happy to be working with them. Already, BetterHelp has helped out close friends of mine and helped me out. Recommendations. They're really great. And I'll tell you that for you guys, you know, how much time, honestly, do you really spend on yourself in a given week versus how much you spend on other people? How do you balance the two? It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you, and you never really take a moment to think about what you need for yourself. A lot of times, especially when you want to help your family, you want to help people out when they call you up, and it's like, who's helping you? And you give a lot of time giving, and what happens? You feel stretched thin and you feel burned out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others. You know, Roxy is someone who's very close to me, and she's cool with me talking about it. She'll talk about it in just a second. Roxy was looking for somebody to talk to. I recommended BetterHelp, and she has really benefited from it. So she's been talking to her person for a while now. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Seriously, it's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today, and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/bigthing. So thank you to our friends over at BetterHelp for the episode. I hope you enjoy what we're about to do here, guys. It's Big Thing. Let's do it. I'm ready. You're ready. Great. Let's go. Welcome, one and all, to the show. The big show. The Big Thing. Thank you to everybody who's brand new to the show and have come on over here this week, last week, whether you found us from the episode we did on Tuesday with Robert Meyer Burnett and Roxy. Whether you found us from out of the theater reactions, or if you're just a returning loyal viewer, thank you. And I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. It's been a good week for us in general. I'm glad we get some really nice comments from people enjoying the show, whether longtime fan, new fan. And I'm glad that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing here. We're trying to entertain and give you news as well. And then I think we're doing our jobs. So we have this show, obviously, that is airing right now. We have on Friday, Capes and Cowls with myself and Winston and Coy. And don't forget, if you guys haven't joined the website, thekristianharloff.com, tonight is a very special event that we're only going to do kind of once a month. We won't do them when we're doing live events, but when we're not doing live events, once a month, the after party. And so what's the after party? Well, if you like this show and you like the cast of characters that you've seen on this show, whether it's Roxy and Steph and Mike and Kate and Coy and Winston and Brett, well, they're never really on the show together. So the after party is everybody in the room together. Unfortunately, Roxy won't be there tonight, but everybody else will. Roxy will be back for the next after party, but we hope that you join us. If you're not part of the website, you can. We're doing like a pay-per-view thing that if you want to check it out and you want to see us all be silly and get this kind of exclusive thing, you can do it a la carte. But if you're part of the website tier at the $10 tier and up, you can see the after party, be part of it, ask questions, all that and more. We hope that you'll join us. It's 4:00 PST tonight, 4 to 6 p.m. So the link is always the first one you see it in the description below. It'll say join the website here. So join the website. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's talk. I want to start with the first one, and that's this Deadpool story. All right, I'm reading this over from Dark Horizons, and here's what they say. Even as the writer's strike is continuing, the industry keeps chugging along with word coming today that production appears to have started on the third Deadpool film. According to comicbook.com, Colossus actor Stefan, there's no way I'm going to say this right, Kapik, took to Instagram today with an image of the news and confirmed sticker added to it. Upon checking, the posting appears to no longer be there. Trade reports previously indicated Marvel's Deadpool 3 and Thunderbolts would continue without the help of writers. As Ryan Reynolds is credited as a writer on the film's script, Collider indicates he is not allowed to improvise any lines during the entire time production takes place while the strike is ongoing. They have to follow to the letter of the script delivered before the industrial action began. The film's director, Sean Levy, earlier this year indicated the production was hoping to start filming in May. This is interesting because that's a big stipulation there. Ryan Reynolds is like the king of improv, and Deadpool, you kind of feel you want him to, right? But you got to stick by the rules, otherwise you're going to get slapped with some big lawsuits, and then other people are going to be calling you scabs or whatever. And they might already be doing that. I don't know, but either way, this is. They said that this was going to happen, right? They said that a lot of these things would go into production because as the Marvel machine moves along, they need to get this movie out. I think they're trying to aim for the normal February date. Is that right? I don't know. You guys will know better than I do when this thing comes out. I thought it was coming out February of 2024. Could be wrong, but it's usually when they put Deadpool out. But it might be a different time. I don't know. Either way, it's coming out next year, so they need to start moving on it. So it makes sense that if they stick by the rules of, hey, you're not going to have any writers on set, and whatever you have in your hands, that's what you have to shoot. You can't do new drafts. You can't do, you can't make additions to them. Whatever is on the page, that is what you have to shoot. That's an interesting way to make films, man. That's an interesting way to make films because it's got to be a bit of a handcuff to not only Ryan Reynolds, but to Sean Levy, obviously. Now I think that what they're hoping for as the production starts, look, let's get some of the big action stuff. Let's shoot what we can shoot. Let's try not to get a lot of the heavy dialogue stuff. I'm sure that they changed a bunch of ways or they have a new game plan as far as the stuff that they're going to shoot. Shoot the stuff that doesn't require a lot of the heavy dialogue, things that Ryan would have to improvise, and just do the stuff that, okay, we can follow the script right here. It doesn't hurt creativity if we do that. We'll shoot a lot of the set stuff that we do. We'll shoot a lot of the action. We'll do that, and maybe they just change their course of their plan of attack, if you will, because that would make sense if they did it that way with the fingers crossed mentality of, okay, look, let's hope that by the time we get into, if we start shooting now in May, that by the time, is usually a movie like this takes what, 4 or 5 months or something like that? Maybe, I think, depending on the shoot in general. Maybe they're crossing their fingers, hoping let's knock out like a month and a half, and hope that this thing wraps up by July or August, because that's what a lot of people are thinking, July, August. I think it might push into the new year. And if that's the case, then you're making this movie without any improv, guys. I hate to tell you. But maybe they're just, hopeful. The other side of it is, what happens if there's a SAG strike in the middle of this thing? That's when it's going to get real, like really real. Not that it's not real now, you know what I'm saying, though. But that's when it's going to get like, you can't do this stuff. I should choose my words better. That is when it's going to be like, okay, you can't shoot anything. You think you can maneuver around the writers right now, and you might be able to, but you got to stick to these rules. Everything else shuts down. Game over. See you later. You're shutting productions down. You're losing money left and right. So they're going to try to figure that out quicker, because what are you going to do? You're just going to AI Ryan Reynolds in there? Nope. So it's crazy. It's crazy how this is this whole thing is happening now. And but it also, the business side of it, you say, I get why they need to try to film stuff. I mean, that makes sense. But it's going to be tricky for everybody, especially with so much money involved in this. And with Disney losing the kind of money that they have in general over the last year, they're like, get it done, shoot, stick to the script. Who cares? Put it out. And the question is going to be, for a lot of these projects, is how much is it really going to hurt the creativity of the films? But that's just my thoughts on it. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. Please comment, and if you haven't already done it, click that like button. By doing it, it helps. And you might have found our show because you saw it in recommendations, and you might have found my channel because you found it in recommendations. That's because people who are watching it have been clicking like and commenting on it, and then the algorithm goes, hey, more people are commenting on this, more people are liking it, so more people are going to see it. That helps. So if you like the show, that's a way to support it, is make sure that you click like and be involved in the conversation too. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think. Do you think I'm completely wrong? Do you think I'm right? Is there something I'm missing? What do you think? I want to know. All right, next story. Got to pay respect to the great Tina Turner, a music icon. 83 years old, passed away. She died peacefully in her home in Switzerland following a battle with a long illness. Again, Dark Horizons. Turner once held the Guinness World Record for the largest paying audience for a solo performer, and said only a few weeks ago on The Guardian that she hopes to be remembered as the queen of rock and roll. Well, she's up there, man. In her early 20s, she found fame with the Ike and Tina Turner and a live act with her former husband, singing songs like River Deep, Mountain High, and Upper City Limits. Enduring brutal abuse through the marriage, the pair divorced in 1978. By the 1980s, she became a music juggernaut with notable songs, including What's Love Got to Do With It, The Best, We Don't Need Another Hero, What You Get Is What You See, I Don't Want to Fight, and the theme song for James Bond film GoldenEye. She had on-screen roles in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Tommy, and Last Action Hero, along with being the subject of the biopic What's Love Got to Do With It, which starred Angela Bassett as Tina Turner. In her time, she won 12 Grammys, was the first black artist and the first woman to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. She had a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and was twice inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Tina Turner is survived by her husband, Erwin Bach, and 2 children. I mean, come on. Tina Turner was an absolute legend. 83 years old. I mean, that's still... It's still tough because, I don't know about you guys, but my dad is approaching 80. And as you get to that age, 80 is 80. It's a real age to where anything can happen at any given time. You hope at that one point, you look at someone like Ray Stevenson, who was 58, and that's young. That's young. 83, and the life that Tina Turner lived, man. I mean, she really... She made the most of it, and you talk, as I mentioned, with Jodie Sweetin. You talk about somebody who had really rough times and was able to push through it, come out the other side stronger, and really just cement herself as the queen of rock and roll, as she says. So much that she's done. I remember Tina Turner was such a big part of my childhood kind of growing up. All the songs that I mentioned and more, and just everything that she did. It's like Tina Turner was almost bigger than music, in general, because she was just such. And I think a lot of it came from that the stuff that she had to go through with Ike and all that. You know, the fact that she didn't just lay down, give up, go away. She said F this, and she turned it around, and she got the hell out of there, and she became, you know, even bigger than she was when she was with him. So, and she just did more and more and more. And I remember Thunderdome. I mean, I remember how big of a deal it was when she was cast. She's like, Tina Turner, she's great in that movie. I love that movie. Love her in that movie. We don't need another hero. So good. So good. Love it. Rest in peace to the legend, Tina Turner. I mean, yeah, I love Tina Turner. And I'm so glad that so many people were able to listen to her music, and you see all the love kind of coming out for her. But bummer, obviously, when we lose somebody like her, especially with the strength that she endured. So rest in peace to Tina Turner. Big fan over here, and I think a lot of us are. So what were your thoughts overall on Tina Turner? What's your favorite song by Tina Turner? What do you think about what she did? What was her impact? All of that. Same thing. Be part of the conversation here, guys. Get in on it. Let me know. All right, one more news story before we move over to our interview with Jodie. Let's talk about this. Our buddy Josh Horowitz, Happy Sad Confused. He had Elizabeth Olsen on. You should watch that. If you haven't subscribed to Josh's channel, you should do it. Just go to Josh Horowitz. He has everybody on. He's the best, and he's a really good dude. I've become pals with him, and I love what he does. He's one of the best interviewers in the game. And he had Elizabeth Olsen on. And so this is from Comic Book Movie, Josh Wilding, who says, while it was already apparent from watching the movie itself, we've learned in recent months that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness went through a lot of rewrites. The Illuminati's roster was fluid right up until the sequel's release, and a combination of the pandemic and Marvel Studios figuring out its multiverse plans resulted in a muddled movie, albeit one which was still very good. Well, that's up to you. Now, the Scarlet Witch herself, Elizabeth Olsen, has reflected on the chaotic production while talking on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. Asked how much of what we saw in the theaters resembled the initial script, she said, it resembled more than I thought it was going to. I mean, there were definitely moments where there's a point in making the movie, I just stopped reading drafts. I was like, this is going to change again. Just keep me posted with the information I need, and you guys fill in the blanks that you need. But I'll just keep my lane. That was one wild ride. Among the changes were plans which called for Daniel Craig to play a variant of Thor's brother, Balder the Brave, while the former James Bond has denied he was set to appear. Concept art has proved otherwise, and it's believed his commitment to No Time to Die put the brakes on him being able to briefly join the MCU. She says, that's what I thought was going to happen. I saw the art, they made a costume, they had a design. So she confirmed that they pushed for details on Craig's long-rumored cameo. Now, as fun as it might have been to see Balder impaled on his own sword by Mwanda, we can't help but think that it was for the best. This is more of an opinion thing. But overall, look, that's a movie to me that I think, and I stand by it. I say that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, if you are a Sam Raimi fan, most people who are big Sam Raimi fans love this movie. I mean, it's about as much of a Raimi movie as you can get. And I think that it's like this, and I had somebody make this comment the other day. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have say that you want them to let directors have more freedom, but yet, complain about they don't stick to the universe. It's like you can have it both ways. You can basically do what you've done with what you did with Ryan Coogler in the first Black Panther, and even the second Black Panther. But the first Black Panther of, okay, here's what we need to happen inside of the MCU and how it plays overall, and we want it to feel like this. We want it to have this. We really like what you've done with Fruitvale Station. We really like what you've done with Creed. We want to get your take. We want to get your vision on it. Can you bring that and combine them both? And he said, hell yeah, I can. And that's why it felt the way it did. When you do something like a Taika Waititi Thor Love and Thunder and a Sam Raimi Multiverse of Madness, you said, well, that's a Sam Raimi movie. That's a Taika movie. Even out of Kevin Feige's mouth, instead of the spy thriller, this. Well, no, that's a Taika Waititi movie. That to me is a mistake, because if you want to continue with this MCU thing, if you want to continue with the MCU thing of everything feeling connected and that it's all part of it, you have to have a balance of get a Sam Raimi, but say, Sam, we got to wait before we start shooting, and your writers have to watch WandaVision. It's got to make sense. And we can't keep confusing the lead actress with all these. And I get it, pandemic and all that too, but it's like, wait. If the MCU is that important to you. Now, I get Disney's like, oh, put it out. We got to make money. We got to make money. You got to say at this point, well, we're trying to connect the same way that we have been in the past, and that's why we've been successful. We either got to take a break, push it back, put it out in the summer, put it out in a different time, or we got to just say, all right, we're going to take some hits on this when it comes to they did fine money wise. It made money. So, but I mean, you look at it, it's like it's still. Charlize Theron the other day was like, I'm still waiting for a call. They put that in there. They don't know what the hell they're doing with that thing yet. They have no idea. There's like it just shows it it was kind of throwing things against the wall, and Elizabeth Olsen kind of confirmed that here. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. Oh, put Daniel Craig in it. Oh, we'll build him out of costume. Oh, we can't do it. Oh, okay. Well then the Illuminati thing's going to be a big gimmick. Let's promote it in the same way that Muschietti spoiled this cameo, which I'm not going to spoil for you. And it's like, don't do that. You don't need to do that. Sell me on the movie. Sell me on the connectivity of where's it go. I just watched WandaVision. I'm so involved in WandaVision. Tie that in there. Don't say that you don't have to watch it. Of course you had to watch WandaVision. The writers should have. I'll tell you that. But again, this is why I love Josh Horowitz. He can get people to talk about this stuff and feel comfortable about it. And Elizabeth Olsen did just that. So go and check that interview out on his channel. Let him know, by the way, that The Big Thing sent you. When you subscribe over there, it is well worth it. You will look, if you have never heard of Josh Horowitz's channel and you've never seen it, you've probably definitely seen it through news articles and everything too. But subscribe to that channel and look at the roster of guests that he has on that show, and you're gonna go, whoa. I don't want to miss any of this guy's interviews. Go and do that. And again, tell him I sent you. All right, guys. I'm excited for you guys to see this. Been a fan of Jodie Sweetin for a long time. And, obviously growing up and watching Full House, that's a given, right? That show was just in everybody's household. It was about as family show as you get, and people are diehard fans. But I became more of a fan of her, of very similar to, like I said, what we were talking about with Tina Turner, in a different way, obviously, but Jodie Sweetin went through a lot. She went through a lot, and she went through addiction. She went through all these different things, and she came out the other side really, really strong. And she's open about it. She talks about it, and I loved having her on the show. It's a great conversation. So I hope that you will check it out. I hope you enjoy it. This is Jodie Sweetin. Before we do that, I wanted to also, as we get into the interview, I want to tell you both about RUMPL blankets. Yes, I love RUMPL blankets. And MANSCAPED. Let's talk about them both. Here we go. RUMPL is back. I love RUMPL. I've been telling you about RUMPL. Please tell me that you've been getting them. Please. And tell me what you think of them, because they are amazing. They're on a mission to introduce the world to better blankets because they're made with durable, sustainable materials, and they're built to last. They recycle over 5 million plastic water bottles a year, and they are B Corp certified, climate neutral, and they donate 1% of all their sales to environmental causes. They're built to endure the elements because RUMPL blankets are made with durable materials that repel spills, sand, stains, and odor no matter where you bring it. If it gets dirty, just throw it in the washing machine. So what I love about them also, by the way, it's not just for outdoors. Really good for, you can get one where you just watch some TV on the couch, kick back. It's pretty great. You can bring one out to the movie theater with you. It keeps you warm and comfy. I love them. I take them everywhere. I take them to the kids' soccer games. I take them to, we do picnics, and then I just take them inside. Now, if you guys want to check this out, you want to do what I'm doing, go to rumpl.com/thebigthing, but use that code BIGTHING at the checkout, and you'll get 10% off of your first order. rumpl.com/thebigthing, code THEBIGTHING. Summer is coming. Who's ready for the beach? Well, Manscaped is here to ensure that your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full-body grooming and hygiene products. Who wants to be that guy, the Austin Powers chest hair, walking around like a putz? If you grew some of those winter man tits, well, the least you can do is make sure that they're hairless. It is time to get ready for hot guy summer. You go to manscaped.com, 20% off, and you get free shipping. You got to use that code BIGTHING. I love Manscaped. I've been using them forever. You guys know that. You know I've been talking about them. That freaking nose trimmer is my life. I love it. The Weed Whacker 2.0. Oh, just the performance package in general. It's dedicated to help you increase your confidence and level up your full body grooming game. It is true. It comes with the essential lawnmower 4.0. 4.0? Yeah, you can take a canoe because it's waterproof. And it is a cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your grooming routine. It doesn't matter. It's so great. I love them. If you're wearing sandals now, you need to get the Manscaped Shears 2.0 nail kit. They have everything. They have everything. I love Manscaped. Nobody should be walking around without Manscaped. You should all have it. Every household should have Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping. Use that code BIGTHING at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with the code BIGTHING at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles. Get Manscaped. That's their new tune. And now, as I promised, Jodie Sweetin is here. You guys know her, obviously, from Full House, Fuller House, but she's also executive producer, and she stars in the movie The Jane Mysteries Inheritance Lost. And we're going to be talking stand-up because she just did stand-up. She's doing another show at the Comedy Store at June 17th, 8 p.m. I'm excited to talk to her. And not only am I excited to talk to her, I also got my buddy Justine Marino here. Look at that, Justine. And Justine, and I want to tell Jodie, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I have to tell this story of how this all came to be.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting down with my good friend Rachel, who happens to be your manager, and we hadn't seen each other in a little bit. I worked for Rachel.
Yes, she told me. That's what she was saying. She was like, he was like one of my first assistants. He was great. Yeah, so
I mean, that's being nice.
Glowing reviews.
Yeah, I was a terrible assistant, but we were good friends.
Actually, maybe she did say that you were.
She should have.
I think she actually might have, but I was trying to be nice.
Don't be nice.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, the niceties are out the window now.
As it should be. But we were talking, and she's like, would you ever want to talk to Jodie? And immediately I'm like, of course, I would love to talk to Jodie. And then for some reason, immediately I think of Justine, and I was like, I feel like Justine has to know Jodie Sweetin. And I texted her, and she's like, yeah, we're like good friends. And I was like, of course you are. I was like, would you like to host the podcast? And here we are. So how are you, Justine?
I'm so good. Well, you know, I have a Full House tattoo, so obviously that's an indicator that I might know someone from Full House.
Well, not necessarily. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there are probably at least a handful of people out there who have Full House tattoos that don't know anyone on the show personally.
That is true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But Jodie and
In fact, I'd say that most people,
of them.
Yeah,
I'm going to backtrack on that.
I'm going to backtrack. Yeah. I'm also going to backtrack on this because did you actually know anybody at the time that you got the tattoo?
No, I did not.
I just wanted to make that clear.
You know, actually, I knew.
Never mind.
I knew Blake McIver.
Okay, got it.
But you know, he wasn't a series rag.
Right.
Series rag.
I wasn't on series
Blake,
regular.
I love Blake, but does not warrant a Full House tattoo.
Of course.
Right.
And it's not a Yankee Doodle.
Even though
tattoo.
it's the wrong one. No, it's still the wrong tattoo. Yeah, but that's okay.
What do you mean it's the wrong tattoo?
It says, "You got it, dude," in French, which is not Jodie's catchphrase. I had no idea that we would be friends years later. So it's kind of the talking point that got us friendly, though. I will say,
because then what happened the second time we met? I proposed.
You proposed. She gave me a ring that says "How rude," and she was like,
"Wow, you must have lost your mind."
You have no idea. It was like
especially because it was only the second time we met. It was at Ben Gleib's like New Year's Eve party or something, and I was like, "Oh, hey, is Justine going to be there?" We'd done a podcast, and I knew you had the tattoo. And we made a joke about it, and I had this ring that said "How rude." It was like like this.
Yeah. How long did you have it for?
Oh gosh, several years. A company had made it for me, and it said "How rude" on it, and I was like, I never wear this because it's like I would when we were maybe doing the show and stuff, but I didn't I don't know. But I was like, who would really like this?
Yes.
Justine. And I brought it and I gave it to her. And and then from that moment on, we were engaged, at least according to
Allison Holker. Yeah.
I love it. So what about the first time you met though? Because were you like geeking out?
So
you had to be.
It's funny because I think we both forgot. We actually met at Hollywood Darlings, the season 2 premiere.
That's right.
And you and Ben Gleib were not friends. Like neither of us knew you. But Ben,
nothing against Ben Gleib. I did not know him yet. Ben's very sensitive. He'd be like, "Wait, what? What did I do?" Like, no. It wasn't that I was not friends with you. It was that I just had never met you.
You were not aware of Ben yet. And Ben was so nice. He knew I was such a big Full House fan, and I was too shy to ask for a picture. And Ben just flew right in and was like, my friend Justine Marino has a Full House tattoo. Will you please take a picture with her?
Incredible.
And you were so sweet. You were like, of course. You probably thought I was psychotic and that I wouldn't become one of the Full House tattoo people that actually knew the cast.
Right.
But then
She couldn't even deny. She's like, that's
she's like,
absolutely
that's right.
what I thought. Yes.
Yeah. No.
And then years later, we did a show. You and Ben became good friends, and we did a show at his house. And again, I brought up the tattoo, and she was like, "Really? You got it, dude. Not how rude, really." And that was a mistake, I will say, in hindsight.
Apparently not. Look,
Well,
we got a relationship here.
It brought
Yeah.
us together,
Yes.
and it got you a ring out of the deal.
It did.
So,
It got me a ring. And you know what I was thinking? I was like, I could actually level up, and now I could maybe I could get a How Rude tattoo in Jodie's handwriting, which would
Oh
be
my God, you
God.
could. Let's do it
So
right now.
special.
Let's
Who-
I'm doing
I
it.
do it.
Fly
I
in the
actually
tattoo
joke
artist.
on you guys. I have a tattoo artist flying in right now. So there you go. Perfect. This. I'm glad that I could put this reunion together. I really am.
Yes.
It's amazing. But so stand-up comedy-wise, because you did stand-up last night for the first time.
And the second time, I did. So I've been doing a show at the Comedy Store called Family Dinner, which is like a panel comedy show. Justine came to one.
super fun. Yeah, super fun.
We've had some amazing guests. We've had Atsuko Okatsuka was on my first show. Mike Binder, John Gabris, Kara Clank. We've had a ton of really great guests. And, the premise is that everybody brings some food that reminds them of their childhood and then tells the story. And then we also play stupid games and include it's upstairs in the belly room, so it's smaller and intimate. But I've been doing that. This will be our fourth show on June 17th at 8 p.m. But I hadn't done any stand-up on my own. I hadn't written my own material and gone up. And I don't know. I I'd always been told, and I had the pleasure and the wonderful joy of growing up around Bob Saget and Dave Coulier, who are two of the funniest people I know and who have always encouraged me to be funny and to take that risk. And especially Bob, he would always compliment me on my timing or my whole life. And so it gave me this confidence, and I was like, you know what, maybe maybe I'll try it. And I have started trying it and putting together, just bits and jokes and writing and doing stuff and working things out. And I love it, and it's really fun.
It's great.
And I've gotten a pretty great response so far. So I feel like I am not totally fucking it up so far.
I love that. And well, you mentioned obviously we just celebrated Bob Saget's birthday, it just passed.
Yeah.
And when you how often was there ever a conversation with you and him about you doing stand up, and maybe because did you get a chance to do stand up before he passed? Did he ever see
Not
you?
before he not before he passed.
Yeah.
And Bob always, and in interviews he would say it, and David said it too, and it's always such a huge compliment coming from them. But they would always say, the first time you sat at the table at 5 years old and, read the script, we were like, oh, shit, she's got great timing. And Bob always used to tell me, he said, at 5 years old, you had the best natural timing, not just scripted, but just who you were. You were just really funny at 5 years old, more so than, he said, even some comics still can't find that right. He's like, and you just had it. And he always would remind me of that. And he would always tell people that and bring it up in interviews and it always meant so much to me because I had so much respect for him. And I remember going to the Laugh Factory with Bob when I was about 9 because I was really close with his family. And I went home. It was a tape night. Went home on Friday. Was going to spend the weekend at his house with his kids, and he was like, "Okay, so." So I didn't tell your mom, but I got offered to do a set at the Laugh Factory night. So you're coming with me. I was like, all right, cool. I might have been 10. But I got to sit in the back and, flash him his lights and everything.
Oh, you flashed him the lights too? That's amazing.
Yeah, it was I was always steeped in their humor and stuff. So, when Bob passed, it was like that gathering that happens after someone that so many people love passes away. And it was such a sense of joy and laughter and all of this. And, I thought, you know what? It's short. It's real short, man. Yeah. If you think this would be fun and you want to take the risk and you want to try something new, and I said that this year was going to be a year of new things for me. I have a necklace even that says "Say yes to new adventures." I just decided that I want to do different things, do things that are unexpected, and so now I'm doing stand up. I mean, who would have thought? I feel like that's kind of moving the career in the opposite direction, which is having a successful television show at like age 5 to 13, and then at 40 doing stand up in like an attic room down the street from there at a small bar.
But it keeps it fresh, though, doesn't it? No, but it does.
I love it. I would much rather I like small, intimate, and I'm like, this is so much. It's so fun. I naturally talk and tell stupid stories anyway, so I'm like, I might as well.
You ever call this lunatic for like advice and stuff?
I'm about to. I'm about to.
You're so funny. Every time you've been on my podcast, I've just been like, you're riffing. Like, I'm like, why hasn't she done stand up? So I'm so glad you started doing it, and I'm so glad for you to do some of my stand up shows that I run.
Yes. Sure. Oh my God, I can't wait. Yeah. I like I said, it's something I love. I've always loved comedy. I've loved making people laugh. I watched incredible comedians around, growing up all my life. And I also, all of their friends by extension, and I watched them use comedy and humor to deal with loss and death and sad things and wonderful things. And I was like, that's me. I like that.
Yeah, it's a great place it really is. It feels like especially for me. I mean, I felt the most comfortable up there. It's like you don't, especially when it comes to writing, because it's like when you're writing with other people and you still have to bounce back and forth. It's like you're on your own out there, and that's on purpose, right? That's like it's like you have to be. You're putting yourself out there, but it's also it's that freedom. I'm so surprised that you and I we didn't meet on this scene.
No, we met after.
I know.
I mean, your name was on the wall at the Comedy Store, but
did she get it tattooed on
herself
as well?
It was on the left cheek.
Okay, exactly. Yeah.
Just
his signature from the Comedy Store.
Yeah, that was
it. Again, I'm sure you're not the only one.
Although it was spelled incorrectly, though.
Yeah. Well, you have a K. What are you, a fucking Kardashian?
I am indeed. I requested it before I was even born.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting because I met you through Mark Ellis, because I used to do a podcast with Mark Ellis. You were doing Schmoes Know with him at the time, and we kind of got connected through the podcast world. And for a while, until recently, when we did Flappers a couple years ago together, I was like, I don't believe he really did stand up. I think it was a fever dream. Yeah. Everyone talks about it. It was like the legend of Christian stand up.
Yeah, and then it was, it's been fun to go back up too, but it is exactly what Jodie's talking about. It's just like that kind of like freedom of it all. And it just feels good.
It feels really good. Yeah. And I don't do well when left like to my own devices to just sit and write and do something. And so I think I never understood what the process of like writing was, that it's like, well, you're not just sitting in a vacuum, you're working with friends. You're like, let's try this. So, you're amongst other comics and working it out. This is not a solo journey that no one is,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's a different way to, I don't have to do it that way. Okay, you know what? Then let me try this.
Well, do you find, for all the success you've had as an actress too, do you find yourself kind of bringing some of that technique and bringing it into, I don't mean necessarily on stage, but when you're talking about realizing it's a process and collaborative and all that stuff, how you kind of have to bounce back and forth?
Yeah, I think I think I love the collaboration of comedy writing. I can sit in a room all day and just crack jokes with people and be like, no, wait, let's do this. No, wait, this one. Like that is, I'm thrilled, and I didn't realize like that it was, I always thought that comedy was a very solo sport, and it can be. And I think it has the reputation of being that way. But I've had the really great fortune to wind up meeting some wonderful people like you and Ben and Chris Bowers and like people along the way that are like
supportive.
Hey, come Mike Binder gave me the opportunity to open for him after he did my show. He was like, you have to do this.
Mike's great.
And that was he's been best friends with Dave Coulier since they were 9.
Yeah.
When he told me, he was like, you have to, you're doing this. You're opening for me. You're coming. You're going to, like, that's it. I was like, okay. Well.
It's amazing. Did you watch the doc that Mike did on the
so
Comedy
good.
Store?
I did not.
It's so I had him on the show and we talked about it. It's so good. I felt like it transported me back. Honestly, it was one of the reasons that kind of kicked me in the ass to get back on stage.
Yeah.
Was it watching that
Same
doc.
for him.
Yeah.
He's getting back.
I see him all over the place
he's
now.
He's been out all over the
it's
place.
True.
And he said sort of the same thing. It was like, I just miss it.
I love that. But I mean, I think that another reason also, and this is a compliment to you, obviously, is that there are some people who just start stand up later on, and that's all that they have at the moment, and they don't know. They're kind of like, you are still doing a lot of things. You're executive producing and starring in this movie, The Jane Mysteries.
Yes.
So tell me about it. Tell me about how you got involved in it. Tell me also how you decided you wanted to do it, because you're a true crime person too.
I am. Yes.
So that's from another bond that you probably had as well too.
Yes.
So tell me about the movie.
So the Jane Mysteries is based on a series of books about Jane Da Silva, who is the character that I play in this movie, Inheritance Lost, which is on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, so not just the regular Hallmark channel, but the one that lets you get a little darker, murder mystery.
Yeah.
But Jane is a singer. She has moved to Europe. She's pursued a music career. Her mom was killed when she was young in a car accident, and with some questions. She was raised by her aunt and uncle, who were very successful and sent her off to school and kind of supported her dreams to go be a singer abroad. And the movie starts with Jane learning that her uncle has passed away and wants her to come home to be with her aunt and to kind of sort out some affairs and potentially take over this detective agency that he has started. It's a nonprofit detective agency. And, Jane at first is like, this is not what I can do. And she gets presented with a case while she's there of a young girl who also lost her mom under some suspicious circumstances. And she realizes that she might actually have an understanding and an empathetic ear to be able to listen to this. And so it starts Jane on her adventure of finding out that she might actually be good at some detective work. And she gets to, have fun with her Aunt Sadie, who provides her with some fabulous costumes and, looks and wigs and things like that, too.
Ooh,
be
looks
in disguise.
and wigs.
Girl, you know how it is. Hallmark movies, we got to be a little, so we have fun with it. But Jane she actually has some great style in this. You'd appreciate.
I'm so excited.
There was a vintage Dior coat that happened.
I'm in. Say no more.
There was a lot, yeah.
Well, so does Hallmark bring this to you? Do you bring it to them as?
So this actually is a production company, Brainpower Studios, that I had worked with on a brief project several years ago.
Yeah.
And that contacted me about doing this movie with them. And then they produce. What happens with a lot of Hallmark movies is it's external production companies, and then they acquire them, and then it becomes part of their Hallmark library. Yeah. So this was actually with Brainpower. We shot in Toronto, and hopefully I'll be getting an opportunity to direct with them later this year as well. Great. And the movie has gotten a great response. It came out last Friday, May 12th, and it's gotten a great response. So hopefully this will be a series of movies, and people will get to see Jane come back. But I loved it. I had a really great time. Our cast was wonderful. Stephen Hazar plays Detective John in it, and he was just great.
It's a good place to be in too, man. That Hallmark, they make them. They make the movies.
Yeah, they make the movies. They're really wonderful with the people who work for them, and they encourage it to be kind of a family atmosphere of like they want to keep people in house. They want to encourage you to do different things, and I love that. It's been a really great place to learn a lot.
And people can find it now. Yes?
Yes, people can find it now. It premieres, I believe, in Canada on June 5th.
Okay.
But it is here on the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel, available like on streaming. But yeah. It's out. The Jane Mysteries Inheritance Lost.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm going to go home and watch.
I know you
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Make sure that you check that out. And that is, again, the Jane Mysteries Inheritance Lost. Okay, so one of the things that I also wanted to talk to you about was that, as I mentioned in the beginning when I was sitting with Rachel, that I said immediately that I wanted to talk to you. And it's going to blend into the stand-up conversation also, because you've done stand-up twice now, and my question to you is, as everyone knows, and you watching stand-up for so long, eventually you get to a place, and you might do this now, I don't know, I haven't seen the set yet, but eventually you get to a place where you start to kind of put out everything. You start to go to a place where you go, okay, I want to talk about this. And sometimes when you're starting, you just go, oh, that's a funny premise, it's a funny bit. But eventually you get to everything. And one of the reasons I want to talk to you is I find your story in general so inspiring. And for what you were able to do in your life, you had some hard times, and then you turned that around, you spun that, and now you're a successful actress, producer, director, stand-up comedian, mom. So I'm very
successful mom is yet to be seen. Well, it depends on the day of the week you ask me. I got an email home about some grades today. I'm like, well, maybe not. But yeah, they're alive though, and seemingly they're happy. They're happy,
and that's good.
half the
And
battle.
that's good. But inside it. So my question is, what are you going? Do you already? Do you talk about your time on Full House?
I do.
Okay, everything that you kind of gone through in your life.
I open with a joke about being divorced 4 times. That's how I open. I make a joke about being a tweaker. Not a crackhead. There's a difference. And
What is
that
the difference?
somebody,
I'm curious.
Right.
and that and I ended the set with and somebody, a fabulous gay man, has how rude tattooed on his ass cheeks, walking around the city right now. So that's so yes, I absolutely
Good.
I lean into it. I
good.
am. I mean, you know me. I make fun of myself. I am because. To me, the irreverence of laughing at the things that are dark is the only thing that makes them palatable.
It's therapeutic too.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I was at my parents' this past weekend for Mother's Day, and my friend decided to bring up a really poor taste joke that I made, but it was funny. Okay, it was funny. It was a death joke. I make fun of death all the time. That's how I deal with it.
Yeah.
My mom does not deal with it that way, and so my friend told me the joke, and we're all laughing, and my mom just looks at me, and she's just like, "That is not funny.
Yeah.
That is horrible. I cannot believe you." And I was like, "I'm just saying it was funny. I'm not saying it was appropriate."
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Right. That's like everything, every conversation with my mom. Yeah, for sure.
Right. But I grew up with but I also
Right.
grew up with these other people and influences where it was like, be real dark.
Yeah.
Just do. And that for me has been the freedom. I can laugh at my addiction. I can laugh at being divorced, 3 times, married 4. I think I finally got it right. Let's fucking hope so.
How long have you been married now?
I'm coming up on a year in July.
Okay.
And my husband and I are so happy and wonderful and amazing. And he is so happy to let me go and do this. And he's like, have fun. Bye.
Right,
It's
right.
late. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so supportive. He's like, go make fun of me all you want. I don't care. Great. Go for it. I'm
That's
sure.
So key.
You have the
it's-
same, and you have the same thing.
I
with
do.
yours, yeah.
Where there's like, go hang out with a bunch of dudes till 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
Go for it.
It's trust.
My
It's
husband
trust.
is like,
Yeah.
great. And he's like, if you really want me there, I'll come. He came to the first family dinner show. He came to my set that I did with
That's
Mike
awesome.
Binder the first time. And then he was, it's kind of like, you good? Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
Like,
cool.
he's like, I got it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
God though, because he was home last night making dinner for the kids and picking one up at soccer
Yeah,
practice
yeah.
and doing stuff for me when I was, out doing the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And it really does. It takes that, especially having kids and all of that.
Yeah.
But no, I deal with things in a very dark way. I am a really fucked up person on the inside.
Aren't we all when it
Yeah.
comes to stand up, right?
Yeah, and that's my people, right? So
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
hang out with people, and I'm like, this is And
I
then
could
my
see
mom
why I
is
called
just-
you. I could totally see why I
Yeah.
called to you for sure, especially because
yeah.
that's why I'm so glad. I'm not surprised, but I'm so glad that you said that exactly that because that you do that because that's if I was going to say like Jodie Sweetin's doing, I'm like, oh man, I hope she talks about Full House. I hope she
Exactly.
talks about
I
everything
think-
she
right,
went
yeah.
through. And you do. That's great.
To go up on stage and ignore the reason why people know who you
Right.
are
Yeah.
Right.
is stupid.
Yeah.
particularly when I have made so many stupid choices myself, which are just ripe to make fun of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it great. If I make fun of myself, like, you have nothing on me. I don't care. I wrote a book on it. I'm doing stand-up on it. Like, call me a tweaker. Call me.
It doesn't matter anymore. You've been through it. Right.
I've been through it, and look where I'm at now. And like, I can laugh at it. And I always like I know how much that helped me, and I think there is such a need for people to be able to use humor to get through things and to have it as not an armor that keeps you from feeling things, but that allows you to be so confident with who you are in the world that someone can say anything to you and it doesn't hurt.
Well, it gives you a thick skin. It does because like so my brother passed away in 2018, and people were using. I was on this Collider, and people would use it against me and say certain things, and would there be like people fake accounts with his name and all that. You're right, but it's like after a while.
Also, fuck, people get a life.
Yeah,
who is home doing that shit?
But
like,
that's
weird.
I always say, the best person that you know in your life ever has access to the internet, and also the worst person you've ever seen in true crime has access to the internet.
Right.
So it's like, those are the types of people, but it's like, but like you said, you got to have that thick skin. You got to be able to build off it, and you got to be able to joke about it as well too. And that's exactly what you're doing. Do you still keep up with a lot of people in the cast? Like, do you
everybody.
Everybody's
Yeah.
still after after the Fuller House and
we've remained like really close for how long is it? 37 years.
Yeah.
We're family. We're like not getting rid of each other at this point. I mean, unless you go do what Bob did.
Yeah.
No, so the only way out of the Full House family is death. It's much like the mafia. We're all
like the mafia.
Well,
I've
you've been through it all anyway.
Been through it all. I've lied about shit. I've been public. I've been, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And for me, I'm a person who is acutely sensitive to injustice and to unfairness and to picking on the little guy. And I just think we see a lot of that. And there are a lot of people who don't always use their platforms in the way that they could in order to inspire the change, sometimes from within the communities that they could affect the most. Yeah. And I just decide I'm going to not be the quiet person.
It's so freeing too, because also like I don't want the people that don't agree.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I'm like, hey, let me just be real clear on who I am. And they're like, I don't like you. I'm like, then
great.
Who cares?
Bye.
Move on.
Well, why are you here?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll follow a few people I don't like, but I mute them on my time.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I don't, but I certainly don't need to go and like knock on their door and insult them, and then when I get punched in the face, be like,
why did you do that? Right.
Yeah. I've actually used that analogy with people. They're like, oh, you're so mean. I go, no. I'm cool until you come to my page at my place where I posted something and you start talking some shit. Yeah. And then guess what? You have knocked on my door and said something to my face. Yep. And so I'm going to, usually I just say something stupid back, but like, it's just, I think people, when you're afforded the opportunity to stand up and have a powerful voice, it means something to do it. So
yeah, I agree with you. And I think that it is, especially with social media. I happen to hate social media.
I hate it as well.
Yeah. I hate it, but we need it.
We got to play the game.
Yeah, I hate it, and it's because I feel like people, like, there are people that would comment to you and say things to you, like I mentioned with my brother, or mentioned to things that they say about you in your past that we never say to your face.
Yeah, say it to my face.
Yeah. Right, but they would say it and they would run away from the Twitter, and I just think that there's something so. I don't know. There's a difference also. Like the Oscars, I feel like, and this is my opinion on it, I don't feel like it should be a place where people are given their political views back and forth. I just don't. Twitter, if you're following me, if you're following Jodie, you're following the person. You're not following the show. So if she's going to be talking political stuff and everything too, you are following that for a reason, right? So you can't say, "Oh, I don't want to hear celebrities talk." Get the fuck off my page.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's fine. I don't talk about it really too. I mean, I talk about it on my page, but like, if you're here, why are you doing this to yourself?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
More so, I just want to go, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Why don't you have friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Why are you here
Yeah.
causing problems? Like, you know what I don't have time for? To go fuck on other people's page and
Yeah.
like
Right.
go, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Just move on. Keep
Right.
scrolling.
Keep
Yeah.
scrolling.
Right.
Bye.
Fuck
I don't
off.
like you either.
Yeah.
But
It's
now
totally
here
true.
you are.
Yeah. It's just it is. It really is. Because
I'm sure they're all watching this podcast. Too,
And they're probably-
they're gonna, and,
We're all gonna
they're
hear
all,
something.
Right, where they're all gonna be like, guess what? I don't like you.
I don't like it. No, I don't think so. I think there's going to be a lot of this show in particular. People like honesty, right?
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your honesty in general. And I think that's why you're probably getting you're going to get a big response in stand-up comedy as well too.
I don't know how to really be any other way these
Yeah.
days, and I think part of it too is like, I'm 41 now, and like I've just gone through all this stuff. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
The fucks are flying away.
Yeah.
I just watch. I'm like, oh look, there's 3 more.
Yeah.
I am so confident and happy in who I am
Yeah.
today, and that was hard fought.
I was
and
gonna
that was
say,
hard
yeah,
to
right.
get to. That like, I'm thrilled that I finally get to be this person and live in my skin
Yeah.
and be okay and go out and be that person.
Well, let me ask you a question. When did you find, because obviously your struggles are well documented,
Mm-hmm.
and and then you got to a place where, because it doesn't just happen. My brother again struggled with addiction and everything too. So
Yeah.
when you get to a place where you're free of it, you think for a second you're not totally free. You're in right. Once you get out of it, you're like, okay, I've been clean for a little bit. Am I going to go back? Am I going to do this? Like, where do you get to a place where you just said, I'm comfortable with who I am?
Well, I mean, that comes from, I am in therapy weekly, and
Yeah.
thank God. But, again, I'm in therapy weekly right now, and I went back, like, during the pandemic, a little post, but I'd say probably the past year, it was like I hit that place that you hit sometimes where you're like, I'm ready to dig into some other stuff,
Yeah.
And I think it's always about, like, knowing that it's a process. There's never going to be a place where I get to where I'm like, oh, I'm all better now. For me, like, addiction isn't the thing I struggle with now. Now it's like being a parent, and now, and it's all of those things. And it's how I operate in the world. And I think also, like, when you have, when you have a period of time away from whatever it was that you were doing, all of a sudden you kind of go like, oh, and to be honest too, I grew up.
Yeah.
I was pretty young when I had kids. I came right out of like not having any responsibilities to like being a mom, and then, I was growing up in a lot of ways too, and figuring it out. And I feel like I'm still not grown up. That's definitely for sure. But I at least have a better handle on things, and at least am in a place where I'm comfortable, and hopefully I can show my girls how to get to that place a lot quicker than it took me.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I also it shows a very tough side that a lot of people, not even just your family, that people should see. So again, thank you for
Absolutely.
that. Let's talk a little movies and TV before we say goodbye.
Ooh, let's. Yeah.
What's something? Obviously, you watch true crime, but
I do.
But what about some of the other stuff you're watching on TV? What are some of your favorites?
I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Okay. What about movies?
I don't watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of things. I read a lot.
Okay.
I read a lot of news. I read a lot of like long journals and things like that, and weird
documentaries
stuff.
and other stuff. Okay.
My weird little neurodivergent brain is
So you just locked in Netflix all the time?
No. I'm like scrolling my news. I'm reading The Atlantic. I'm reading old Atlantic articles. I'm reading The New Yorker. I'm reading long, like, Rolling Stone article magazine. I mean, I don't know. I just like learning about the world and our place in it.
Yeah.
But as far as stuff I'm watching, what am I watching right now? You know what I did watch the season of was Yellow Jackets. And
So good.
It's so good. I haven't picked up season 2 yet.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for it to like all come out on Hulu, and then I can.
So when I avoided COVID for 3 years and got hit with it like two months ago and was leveled.
Wow.
But I was starting Yellow Jackets because we were going to get some of the cast in.
Yeah.
So Perry Nemiroff, who I work with on guests, and she was like, "You got to watch it to come in." I was like, "Great, I hear great things."
Yeah.
I start watching. I'm like, "This is really good." And my wife goes, "What are you watching?" As I'm laid out on the bed,
Right.
I can't move.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Yellow Jackets." She says, "Don't watch that without me." I'm like, in my head, I'm going, "There's no fucking way you're gonna watch this with me," and I'm not gonna be able to. And sure as shit. We watched like 15 minutes of it together. She's like, oh, this is good. We'll get back to it. Never got back to it. Right?
That's what happens with me and my husband. So he watches a ton of television, and we always have the joke where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch that with you. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just, you know,
it's gotta be honest.
Kind of how it is.
Yeah.
It is. But I hear good things. I'll tell you the show that
great.
I did watch, like that I just smashed through, was Shrinking.
Oh, I need to watch that.
I actually do have a great show that I just watched.
Tell me.
Chimp Empire.
What's that?
What is that?
Tell
I've
me.
never even heard of that.
Yeah, what is Chimp Empire?
Oh my God, it's on Netflix right now, and it's a documentary. It's about the largest chimp group in the African forest. But it is, you guys, watching it is the politics of these monkey chimpanzees. Excuse me.
Be careful.
I know they're very different because the
careful.
chimps eat the monkeys.
They know how to use Twitter now.
Well, the chimps eat monkeys, so I have to be very clear on that.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Things
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know. Oh, they rip those little things
Oh, yeah.
apart.
Snacks.
Yeah,
Snacks.
it was
Oh
wild.
my God.
Yeah.
Chimps are smart.
They
are calculating.
They're us.
They are, and that's why it was fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
It's only 4 episodes, but I'm telling you, like, it's been a big hit on Netflix. Probably because of the
Chimp
writer's strike, so
Empire.
nobody had to write it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really great if you like documentaries, and also if you just like kind of watching sociological experiments and watching almost humans, but not quite, but basically being like, wow, we really haven't come very far.
No, you just go on Twitter, you find out quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have Twitter anymore.
Good for you.
The
Smart.
day Elon Musk bought it, I was like, and I'm out. I'd never used it much anyway.
Yeah, I barely use it anymore. Well, I re-upped mine again. Because remember when you did my podcast, you're like, I can't find you because I
Right.
had deactivated
Right.
it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
But
I don't blame you, either one of you, for not using them. I retweet.
Yeah.
I send out my links.
Me too.
And
that
that's
was
it.
about what I did.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. And I would try and go on there and I was like, I can't do
Yeah.
this.
I understand, but Chimp Empire we're talking
Chimp
about.
Empire.
Chimp
I'm
Empire.
telling
I
you,
gotta watch.
you will laugh, you
Yeah.
will cry, you will be like, oh my, there's giant monkey brawl.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
Well,
yeah.
you goofed about the writer strike on the side of that's why there's no writers on it. But I'll tell you what, that is going to see even a heavier push in people watching those documentaries soon, and more of them being produced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
see a
what
lot of them.
I looked at it and I went, oh, this was Netflix planning ahead. Going,
Yeah.
we need to put
100%.
something on the air and have something that doesn't require writers.
That's what's
See
gonna
how it
happen,
goes.
yeah.
And then
Yeah,
that's what we're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Right.
How long do you guys think it's going to last? It's going to probably go. I think it's going to go into like August, maybe even fucking January.
I've heard a couple things. I was at Series Fest last week, and someone said June 29th because then DGA and SAG will strike, and
Yeah.
it'll put so much pressure on them.
Right.
But then I've also heard, beginning of next year. So who knows?
I mean, I write it out because I'm 100% with him. Like this is.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
There's no, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not. The problem is that, as you just said, the studios and everybody else, they plan for this. Like, and then it's going to,
Well, because they're
cut
making
costs and
so
stuff.
much money that they can be like, we can bolster ourselves
Right.
against needing people. And now,
Yeah.
AI terrifies me.
So scary.
I want my little hut in the woods. I don't want people. I just want to avoid everyone. And the monsters and the machines are taking over, and it's all really scary. And then Ron DeSantis. No, sorry. But yeah, it's a lot. Lots happening.
It is
it
a
is.
lot. Thank you so much for joining me here today. It's
Absolutely.
really amazing. Oh yeah, before we go, what are you watching?
Oh.
You probably watch. You got to be.
I watch everything.
I'm always fascinated with what you're watching because you can find something that I've either seen, love, or there's something I have no idea that I feel my wife would be watching
well,
tomorrow
she and
night.
I are like,
same.
But you know what I'm really into right now is Succession, obviously.
I watched it.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
But
Are
I
you
want
kidding
to.
me?
I know.
Oh my God. So
Everybody watches
it
it.
took me a minute to get into it. So Mitch was like, well, let's watch Succession. I fell asleep the first episode, full
I
disclosure.
think that might be.
Yeah.
I tried starting to watch it, and I was like,
I tried again and I got to episode 2. You guys, by the time you're at the season finale of this show, each season, you're like, what? That's the best television I've ever
the writing
seen.
is just next
The
level.
writing, the acting is next level. These characters are all terrible people, but they're so complex that
Right.
you empathize with
Of course,
them.
So
right.
made Sopranos and Breaking Bad so good
Exactly.
too.
Because
Yeah.
everyone has a little bit of terrible person in them.
Yes.
And terrible people have a little bit of decent people in
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
It's, it's
None of it's
What's
black
the
and
balance?
white.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But that's my number one right now.
Okay.
I cannot stop talking. I will talk about it with anyone. It's so good.
Are you just counting the days until Bachelor in Paradise?
Yes. Oh, that too. That's like glitter and garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's Justine Marino in a
That is
nutshell.
me in a nutshell.
Succession, Bachelor's in Paradise.
Exactly.
Love Island. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
It is.
But yeah, Succession and Yellow Jackets I love too.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both.
I thought you were going to say Yellowstone, and I was like, that didn't strike me.
No,
as
no,
that.
no,
Yeah,
no.
1923
No, I
and
stand by it.
1883 was
I haven't
good.
watched those. I did watch the first few seasons of Yellowstone. It was great until I was like, all right, people are getting blown up. Nobody's doing anything. Then I was like, but
it's funny. I started backwards. Well, I guess I started chronologically. I started 1883, 1923.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I'll probably get to Yellowstone eventually. But the 1883 was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was really good, really long movie.
I do love Helen Mirren.
She's 1923, but she's great in that one.
Okay.
She's really her and Ford together. I'm so bummed, guys. Indiana Jones.
Oh.
That's some of my favorite fucking franchises, and they premiered it in Cannes, and the reviews have been shit.
They're bad.
They're like 41 or 38%. I'm like, no, James Mangold, who did like Ford versus Ferrari and like Logan. And I'm like, oh, come on.
No.
And I'm like, I was going to take my dad to the premiere.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Screw the critics.
I know.
It's true.
Don't listen to what they say. If it brings you joy, let it be. Because look, Full House was hated by critics and audiences loved it.
People get tattoos.
Yeah, I have a tattoo.
People get tattoos and stalk you
I know.
until you become friends with them and then wind up on their podcast. No,
I just showed up today. Actually, Kristian didn't even invite me.
No.
yeah, no,
I don't even know
it's
what you're
weird.
doing.
I was
It's in my
like going to
bathroom.
the driveway. She was standing
right.
there. No, I was.
You're in your trunk.
I heard somebody getting out. It's weird. I don't even know what I was
It's
saying.
Indiana Jones, but
Don't let people.
Yeah.
You know,
I
you're
know.
young. Go watch it.
I mean, I
just
get
be
it.
Like,
I get
I'm
it.
a kid, and it's Indiana Jones.
I'm just worried because that last one was shit, and it's like people are like saying, okay, I was just hoping because of Mangold, and collectively there are a lot of people out there that we're reviewing that I know that I'm on the same taste with.
Yeah.
That's why it was more so like. It's just not. I'm still excited, but I just wasn't as excited because I wanted the reviews to be good. I wanted it collectively.
Right.
But you're right.
Maybe it's just all a giant scam so that you don't get overexcited and everyone's like, let's just make the reviews like sort of mediocre so that then you can have the moment where you walk and go, this was the best movie ever.
Your lips
That
to
is
God's
true.
ears.
Yeah.
I mean, even with Scream, I had low expectations because Nev wasn't in
that
it,
movie.
and I fucking
Yeah.
loved
The
it. I
last one
saw
was
it
good.
5 times.
Did
in
you
the
see
theater.
it 5
I saw it
times?
5 times. The new
Wow.
one. Yeah.
You got to see it free once, and then you paid for it 4
and then
times.
I paid for.
Look
Well,
at
I
you.
have the AMC Stubs A-list.
Oh, okay. So you
but
went-
yeah,
went
I
up.
have a Scream tattoo as well. Don't get jealous.
Unbelievable cheater.
No, I think I stopped watching Scream at like Scream 2, maybe, or 3.
Yeah. Are you a horror person?
I love horror,
Okay.
but I like horror, but I'd say I'm probably more of a like psychological thriller. 'Cause
Same.
I'm like, make me think.
Yeah. Do you like
Barbarian
Conjuring?
was great. Conjuring
First
was
one.
cool.
Barbarian's good.
Barbarian, I
Yeah.
loved.
So good.
Hereditary.
Hereditary, yeah. Like give me Midsummer,
Right,
real
right,
dark.
yeah.
Sew me up in a bear suit, and you've got me in.
Yeah. Well, what's good? What's good about that though? Is
If you haven't seen Midsummer, that's
it. But the thing about the horror, because I've never been a big horror fan, but I do like those psychological thrillers because it's. And there weren't a lot of them for a while. When Ellis and I were doing schmoes, we would see this. It was like another remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and just like slasher and jump scares. I'm like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
And then they started to do Conjuring stuff and these other. And I'm like, okay, this is the kind of shit that I like.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they were doing a lot more of that, and I think that they caught on, and it's lower budget. That's why like Blumhouse does a lot of that.
Yeah. Of
stuff
course,
too.
yeah.
So
well, because you can make something real much more terrifying.
Yeah.
100%,
Then
yeah.
you can
Scarier.
make some sort of monster.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, it's just the dude that answers the door.
I know you're trying to wrap up, but I have
Sorry,
one question
no, please.
Good
because
luck.
I saw this movie a couple weeks ago, and I don't know what to. Beau is Afraid. Did you see it?
I did not,
I
but
have
it's
not
it's
seen
that
it.
Joaquin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see it because it's so weird.
And
Weird.
controversial, yeah.
It's crazy. I was like, I don't know what that was about. So when you guys see it, text me because
Okay. Yeah,
I
I
have
will.
no one to talk to about
Okay,
it.
see that is a movie I'm like if it's really weird. I've never
Yeah.
seen a Marvel movie or a bit like
Just
a
not
spider.
your-
It's
just
not
not
my
your
thing.
thing, yeah.
But give me something that everyone's like, this is. I don't know what I just watched. I'm like, I'm
So
in,
did you
I'm
love
in.
The Lobster?
I didn't see The
Oh,
Lobster.
I feel like you would love The Lobster. The Lobster is very, very weird, very psychological. It's like it's
is
bizarre.
it like Tusk?
It's not as crazy as Tusk, which is fucking awesome. I love it. Kevin Smith and I fucking, I love talking to him about Tusk, and even what's the one that he did the follow up to that one, which is even crazier. Shit, I can't remember he was the little fucking hot dogs running around after each other. Did you see?
Oh,
and Austin Butler was in it.
Oh
shit, I can't. I'm driving me nuts that I can't think of the name. But anyway, he did it and premiered at Cannes, at a Sundance. And what I really loved about what Kevin Smith was doing was very similar to what you were just saying with the Indiana Jones stuff, and that's don't give a fuck. I'm just putting money for my friends. I'm making movies for my friends.
Yeah.
I don't care what that's what Tusk was, and and that's what his follow up movies were too. And even when he made the last Clerks, did you guys see Clerks?
Not
3?
I didn't
No,
see
not
Clerks
yet.
3, no.
It is emotional.
it is.
Yeah, it is emotional.
Okay, I'm
Like,
gonna have to check it out.
It was like because the first, I love the first one. Wasn't being a fan of the second one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one, but I love the first one.
Yeah, the third one, it's like it's the Kevin Smith humor in there, but
Right.
there's like some emotional moments that you're like, fuck, it's really good.
That's how I felt about the new Bill and Ted that came out.
Yeah.
It was like
Well, I think it's
emotional.
also because we realized like,
Nostalgia.
oh shit, we're old.
we're
Right,
old.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
absolutely.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, well, you got to come back on again.
Would
I'd
love
to have
to.
you back
Would
on.
love
This is
to.
a blast, and let's talk about once again, guys. June 17th.
Yep.
8 p.m. Make sure you go and check Jodie out at the Comedy Store and the Jane Mysteries Inheritance Lost. You can find that on Hallmark.
Movies and mysteries.
There you go. So thank you guys. And now I'm going to throw back to me. Thanks, me. All right. So thank you to Jodie Sweetin. Thank you to RUMPL and MANSCAPED, which you saw before the interview. And thank you to Justine Marino for being on the show. Check out Justine's show. Justine's great, Glitter and Garbage. I've been on her show before. Check her out on Instagram at Justine the Machine. I love Justine. She's one of my favorite people. Such a really funny, just good person. And the same thing, and it was a pleasure to talk to Jodie, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Please leave your comments. Again, tell me what you think about the interview. Tell me what you think about the interviews in general. I've gotten people who like the interviews that I do on the channel. And if you didn't know this, there's a full playlist on this channel. It just says Kristian Harloff interviews. And it has not only the people that I've interviewed on this channel, but it has people that I interviewed back with Collider Live. It has people that I interviewed with on one-on-one with Kristian Harloff, with Fandango. It's got a full list. So if you ever wanted to check it out and go browse through it, it's just called Kristian Harloff Interviews. So I want to thank you guys for joining me here today. I really appreciate you being here. As I mentioned earlier, please hit that like button. I hope that you do that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out tremendously. And, keep commenting, liking, helps in the algorithm. And if you're going to be in New York, guys, if you're in New York, if you're in the East Coast, anywhere near it, please get to this show. Buy the tickets now, man. Sell us out. Let's do it. June 23rd. Look at that lineup. Jen Sturger, Kate Mulligan, Brett Sheridan. And then the live podcast is me and Mark back together again with the guys from Double Toasted. That's old school YouTube, guys. And you guys can see it. Be there. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you. Thank you to Jodie Sweetin, and thank you to Justine Marino and everybody for being on the show with the show today. It's the big thing, and we'll see you on the flip side, guys. Peace.